Hello everyone and welcome back. Today the topic of discussion is reading comprehension, especially for the NPAT exam. Cracking this section is crucial because majority of the question will be from RC, that is reading comprehension. So let's explore some strategies and practice material. Yes, so the first thing I want to focus on is the tips for attempting reading comprehension. The first tip for today is keep a track of timeline and statistics. So if you notice that the passage is talking about different time periods, or if you see a lot of statistics or numbers mentioned in the passage, you will most likely be questioned on these stuff. So make sure you keep a track of timeline, statistics, or numbers for that matter. All right, so let's move on to the next tip. Don't use outside knowledge or your opinion or common sense while approaching RC questions. Like approaching the approach the passage very objectively. Yes, you should never make use of your outside information or your common sense while approaching RC questions. Your common sense might lead you to make inferences or assumptions that aren't supported by the text. So that's why we're not supposed to use our common sense or our outside knowledge while dealing with this particular RC questions, any RC questions. Okay, so let's move on to the next tip. Read the questions carefully. Yes, we know that we are supposed to read the passage entirely without skimming through it, but it's equally important to read the questions without leaving any lines out. Pay attention to the questions too. All right, so let's move on to the fourth tip for today. Read all the answer choices. Even if you want to mark one particular answer choice and you are very confident about it, make sure you read all the other answer choices before marking your final answer. Okay, because it's possible that there is another answer choice that answers the question even better than the one you initially picked as your answer choice. So make sure you do that. All right. So let's move on to the final tip for today. Try to eliminate some options. In case if you aren't able to arrive at the answer to a particular question, at least try to narrow down your choices by eliminating some options which you know are definitely incorrect. All right. If it's very unlikely that you will be confused among 4 or 5 options. Usually you'll be able to eliminate 2 or 3 options, after which even if you make a blind guess, you have a 50% of chance selecting the correct answer. So you can do that. Make sure you use this tip, right? Okay, so let's move on to the next slide. Yes, here comes the passage. Make sure you pause this video and take a minute or two, read the entire passage without skimming through it. All right. After reading the entire passage, try to find the main, primary, secondary purpose of the discussion. Okay. After doing this particular stuff and move on to finding the tone of the author, because most likely you'll be questioned around all these topics. All right. So majority of the question will be from main purpose or main primary purpose. All right. So make sure you, at once you finish up your passage, try to find all these up. Yeah. So let's move on to the first question. The first question is, according to the passage, which of the following is true of the new style of working during the pandemic? So according to the passage, which of the following is true of the new style? So new style meaning trend, which is the current trend during the pandemic. All right. So let's consider the options first. The first option is waking up and getting dressed for work. See, the passage describes a shift away from this traditional routine towards working directly from bed in one sleepover, right? So this is why we can eliminate first option easily. So let's move on to the second option. Eating and working at the same time. So while the passage mentions someone having breakfast on a tray, it doesn't focus on simultaneous eating and working as a specific trend. It's not a trend, right? So that's why we can eliminate option 2 as well. So let's move on to the option 3 now. Yes, working from bed in your night clothes. Night clothes meaning pajamas, right? So the passage explicitly mentions work from home becomes work from bed and describes people settling back under their blankets and working in their pajamas, right? So pajamas is paraphrased as night clothes, right? So this best fits. Before jumping into the conclusion, let's consider the last option as well. So the last option here is using proper office furniture for work. This is exactly opposite to what the author is communicating to us, right? The whole argument of the passage revolves around the shift away from proper office setup. So that's why we can eliminate option 4 as well. So the right answer is option 3. All right, so let's move on to the second question now. The phrase setting up shop on their mattresses is this in the second paragraph means that people started. Okay, so in the second paragraph we have the phrase setting up shop on their mattresses. So what does the phrase means? Okay, before moving on to find the meaning for the phrase, tell me what is the meaning of mattresses. Mattresses meaning the bed, bed in which we sleep. All right, so mattresses, bed. So let's see the options now. Opening new business establishments. This is the first option I would eliminate because the passage discusses working from home, not starting new businesses. So we can eliminate this option. So let's move on to the next one. Working from home instead of going to office. This is part of the broader context, but not the specific meaning of the quoted phrase. We want a meaning for a specific meaning for the quoted phrase, right? So this doesn't make any sense. So we can move on to the next option. Using their beds as office space instead of desk. Yes, the phrase setting up shop implies establishing a workspace. In this context, it means using the mattresses for work, creating an alternative office space. So this is why this answer choice is best fitting to the particular phrase. But let's consider the last option as well. Using mattresses because they didn't have chairs. No, the passage mentions both mattresses and a lack of chairs, but the setting up shop metaphor empathizes the choice of the bed as the workspace, not just a consequence of missing furniture. So we can eliminate this particular option as well. So the right answer is option 3. All right. So again, we are moving on to the next slide for the third question. Yes, the author uses the Instagram work from bed hashtag to show how. So let's see the options. Yes, so the first option we have here is lots of people all over the world follow this particular hashtag. The question is why the author uses this hashtag, and it's not meant to question how many people follow this particular hashtag. So the word follow makes this particular phrase incorrect. So we can eliminate option 1. So let's move on to the second option. Making people around the world, many people around the world are Instagram users. This is a broader statement, not tied to the specific context of working from bed, and doesn't directly reflect the purpose of the author. So we can eliminate this option as well. So let's move on to the third one. Working from bed is gaining popularity around the world. Yes. So the passage mentions work from bed hashtag reaches thousands of people, implying a large number of people using it, right? So yeah, this is why the author uses this particular hashtag. So yeah, this best fits, but let's consider the fourth option as well. People like to post pictures of themselves working from bed. While people might enjoy sharing such pictures, the author's point of view is to highlight the popularity of that particular trend itself, not just to act of posting, right? So this is why fourth option can also be eliminated. The correct answer is option 3 again. So again, the answer choice is 3. The correct answer choice is 3. All right, so let's move on to the fourth question now. Yes. Oh, sorry. Yes, here we have the fourth question. So, work according to the passage, which of the following is not true of work from bed? So, see the word not true. So, we want we have to pick an option that is not true according to work from bed. Right? So, let's see the first option. Working from bed is easier than working from home. Yes, the author did point out about this in his passage, so we can eliminate this option. Let's move on to the second option. Before the pandemic, Americans did not work from bed. The passage mentions a 50% increase in Americans working from bed during the pandemic, implying before pandemic there was some, they have mentioned 50% increase. That means there was some prevalence even before, right? So so this answer is, this particular option is not, this particular statement is not true, and this is what we want. So the answer can be option 2, but before deciding, we can consider option 3 and 4 as well. We should do that. Let's see option 3 first. Youngsters tend to work from bed, whereas older people prefer to work from a proper desk and chair. Yes, this has been discussed by the author. Let's move on to the fourth one. Access to appropriate furniture is not a factor leading to work from bed. Yes, true, mentioned in the passage again. So we can say option 2 is the only option that's not correct according to the author. So yeah, so the answer is option 2. All right. So yeah, let's move on to the next slide. Which of the following statement best captures the main idea of the passage? Yeah. So I want you to answer the first question. Comment your answers below and I'll check it out. Feel free to comment your queries and I'll clarify it. Yeah, so that's all for today. Thank you, guys.